how ready are students in using AI tools, and how ready are they ready for the workplace of tomorrow? When we talk about AI technology, there's a technological device that we have to have, right, for them to be able to even access it. It's not like a book that you can just print off or copy. You need some sort of, financial means or socioeconomic means for that. Are there any maybe worries or concerns that you have about students' readiness for this AI kind of workplace of tomorrow? I think one of them you've already kind of brought up in terms of accessibility.
AI can make things accessible for, the hard of hearing, right? The visually impaired, those on the autism spectrum, right? Those who need differentiation in education, any of those universal design for learning pieces, right? When we're talking like pedagogy. At the same time, to actually have access to the tech to be able to do it well can be limiting. And I think we forget that because cell phones are so everywhere,
right,
and tech is everywhere, that we do forget that there are families where that's not a possibility, either through financial means or even just a family choice. We're going screen free. As soon as they come home, they have enough time on screens at school, and that's a conversation and a choice that a family has made. So I think there's that tension that we live in, and that balance. And same with the equity in some of our classrooms where, someone's like, hey, I have an old iPad, I'd like to donate it to the classroom so you guys can use it for this and that. But being able to keep them up to date at a certain point, it's like this iOS can no longer run this version of whatever, right? Yeah. And so it becomes kind of this weird cycle where we have these tech graveyards of things that are perfectly well to use, but the interfaces aren't there, right? The hardware is there, but the operating systems don't keep up.
A lot of the company, their focus is driving forward, because that's how you survive in the business world. You gotta go forward.
Yeah.
And how many company will be able to stop and look in the other areas in this society, like for example, poverty's education needs and all this area. I'm sure if someone be able to really to pause and look, someone will be able to solve this and will be able to take that into consideration when they're pushing things forward, not leaving anybody behind. Accessibility is we need someone to bring up their attention that, hey, there's a gap in the education system in the society now, higher advanced one, and in a good community, they have all this access in AI education. But then the ones that's lack of resources, they don't have it. How should we solve the problem? Readiness of the children. I think Kelly, like as a teacher, you probably feel like part of the school's responsibility is to get them ready. Right? We can never wait for them to be ready.
Right. Yeah.
To do anything. Right? They're children. Even sometimes the adults, we need to encourage ourselves for the first step when we're not ready. So I don't think they're ready, but how the school can prepare that readiness for them to accept, to receive the AI as part of the education. That's they can be ready.
Or most times, my students are leaps and bounds ahead of what I can teach them when it comes to AI or technology, right? Sometimes too, you like to get them to really think, right? And so one of the things that I really like to do with my students is I get them to write like a prompt for an AI image generator. And then to swap them and then point out the errors, because you wrote, well, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. You wrote a good prompt,
right?
So you're getting in that literacy building, right? Like what is a good descriptive prompt that you can give to this image generator? But then also like now you're gonna spend time going, oh, it has 4 hands, it only has 3 fingers, it did this, it did that, right? And so you're building those literacy skills, and then you're kind of using AI to develop that critical thinking about what you communicated. So when you talk about like what are some skills that students need or that we can work to develop in our students, I think helping them to develop a certain level of expertise in how to use AI at the cognitive level they're at, right? I'm not going to expect grade 6 students to be able to do, something that, a 3rd, 4th year computer science major would be able to do. I think we've had that, you've probably all had that, where you put something into ChatGPT and you're like, that's not what I wanted, right? And you have to go back and you're like, oh, wait a second, that wasn't super clear, right? So, I mean, that's building neural pathways in our brains too. The more you use AI and what you use AI for, brain studies and brain science shows us your brain is elastic, right? I think we can all, like, we know that, right? From early development, right? That's why, you know, a toddler can learn so much in such a short period of time, right? Because of the neuroplasticity of our brain. If I'm not using my brain in a certain way, I'm gonna lose that plasticity. So if I'm using AI to replace critical thinking, for instance, that I'm gonna lose that skill, right? That's just science. That's what our science tells us, right? And so again, being discerning of what am I going to use AI for? When we're looking at how AI is being monitored and maybe used or abused in post-secondary education, right? If you're using it to write a research paper, by the time you're done, you're not going to be able to write that research paper. So while, use it as a tool in medicine, because I want to know when I go to the pharmacy that if I'm having one medication and I also take this other medication, that there's some AI program that's going to tell me, hey, if you take those both, you're going to have a heart attack, or there's going to be like some really bad effects. I want that. But do I want my doctor to have just done all of his stuff over AI? You don't want to lose it. You want to just develop it in a different way.
The other day we were talking about funny question. What kind of ability that we're having now will no longer be needed in the 10 years. Right? We used to, write an essay, like drawing the bullet points and then connecting to paragraph. What is the future going to be? Right? Do we still need that literacy, literature, and writing an essay in an old traditional way in the 10 years? I'm actually quite excited to see what the future going to look like.
I think that's very interesting too. I'm thinking about like even just note taking. As long as students maybe know how to, let's say they use an app to transcribe different things. As long as they know and go back, they can understand it. Maybe that's a skill that might be slowly being replaced, but that critical thinking of still knowing what are the main facts to know, what are the important things in a knowledge area. But it's interesting because it's teaching critical thinking. It's building up the skills that we've been teaching for decades in the school system, right? The same sort of learning standards are still there, but it feels like that way of teaching allows us to alleviate it, because we teach kids to that artificial intelligence. The truth throughout the ages is nothing is perfect in this world. Everything kind of deteriorates. And maybe that also is applicable. As much as people believe AI can be this superpower, there's still some flaws. And when we have that healthy relationship, I think that might be preparing our students to use AI in more positive ways, especially for the workplace student. Not an overly reliance, but a full-on partnership is what I feel like both of you are describing.